Welcome back to the Bass Garage. Today we're working on a 2013 Honda Pilot V6. We're going to be doing valve cover gaskets, spool valve gaskets, transmission cooler hose, and some sway bar links, along with topping some fluids off and some little maintenance things. But we're going to do some how-to on here just so you can follow along. If every little bit will help you. So yeah, let's get started. All right, we're going to get started here on this 13 Pilot. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to loosen up these 8 millimeter air filter bolts. All right, I got 2 on this side. Got one on the back side here. Got that all the way out. Guess we'll find out. All right, and I believe we have one on this other corner. Again, these are 8 millimeters. Let's see if I have these all loose enough. All right, so I got those loose enough. We're also going to disconnect this mass airflow sensor. Get that out of our way. And we're also going to disconnect this connector here off the throttle body. Get that out of our way. Then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these clamp loose, and that's gonna be a 10 millimeter. All right. So I think we might have that loose enough there. We're just loosening up just enough. All right, so got that up. These lines here may give me a little bit of trouble, but I have to pop those out. Maybe not. Okay. All right, we'll just sit that there for a minute. We might have to move some of those lines here a little later. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to disconnect this connector back here. All right. So then we're going to take this hose loose from here, and then we'll have 2 10 millimeter bolts that hold this sensor here on. That way we kind of leave it hang out of the way, because we're going to try to get this plenum off. All right, so and then I don't know if these might be too big for this. Try these here. All right, we got that loose. Now we got 2 10 millimeters down here. We're gonna have to try to get out of there. Actually, yeah, there we go. Get that one loose. Now I'm doing this with hand ratchet, doing it by hand. I mean, that's okay way. If you have a power cordless ratchet or air ratchet, you could do it that way as well. I do have that, but not everybody does. So we are going to go this way on this. there. And just slide that off, and we'll just leave it all to the side like that. All right, now we're going to go back here. We're going to get this hose off here. Slide that clamp back like that. Give a little twist on the hose, twist and pull. And we got that one off. So now we're going to come back over here to the further side, and we're going to get this hose here off. Let's see. Do the same thing. Squeeze that clamp. I have to wiggle it a little bit just to break it loose. Some of these can be tough, especially if they've been on there for a long time. There we go. I got that off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull this clip here, harness here off. Just push down on that, wiggle it, and then that's off. So the next thing we have to do is get the throttle body off. And that has 4 12 millimeters that we have to get off. So let me switch things up here. All right, so we got our 12 millimeter short and shorter extension. Now this throttle body has coolant line stuff on it, so that's, instead of taking the coolant lines off and making a crazy mess, we're just gonna take the throttle body off and just set it off to the side. One thing you don't want to do is mess with the butterfly inside the throttle body, because if you do that, you're going to have to recalibrate it. If you don't have a scan tool to do that, you are going to have to get somebody to do that for you. Switch over to a little different tool here. There's a bolt there. Now the fun part's going to be getting in here. We may have to take that loose there just so we can get some more room. Oh no. Maybe. Stuck on there pretty good. Let me just see something here. I just don't understand why we couldn't. All right. Let's here, let me grab a tool real quick. All right, so instead of messing with that, I just had to get a different tool to get down there and get the bottom bolt out. So now here we'll get this last bolt out, or nut off here. All right, so we got that off of there. Let's see here. Be careful here so we don't tear that gasket. You got a gasket in between there. All right, I'll tell you what, we'll leave that like that, and when I take the plenum off, we'll just tilt the plenum up and then slide the throttle body off. It'll be a little easier than fighting them coolant hoses. All right, so next thing we got to do is we're going to be taking these bolts, 10mm bolts here out. Let me get the new other tool here. Nut on one side, bolt on the other. I always want to check and just make sure like the bolts are, if they're the same length, because sometimes you take things apart and they're different lengths. So just want to make sure so you don't get anything mixed up. And if they are a different length, you might want to document that, write that down, take some photos. Right. All right, here I have to little pry bar here, just oh, I think I missed one bolt right there, right in the middle. There we go. Now we got them all. I was being sneaky. There we go. I was like, that should come off a lot easier than that. Okay, so you definitely want to get, which we already have a new gasket. You definitely want to have a new gasket for this. So the next thing we're going to be taking out is these 12mm bolts here. All right, next step, I took the gasket off for the top plenum there. So we got the 12mm bolts we have to take out here. I think 100% sure about that. I think that might stay there. We'll have to see, because you got this nut here and there's nut here. And I'm gonna get a deep well or something, and we'll see what we got there. Those off. I should be able to make sure everything's loose. All right, so we're back here. I'm gonna lift this off. I'm gonna leave them bolts in there. That way I can, it all stays together. Set that there. And then we have this is the old gasket. We're gonna take that off. Because you don't want nothing getting down in there. You'll have some real major problems. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna wipe this off, some brake cleaner and a rag, and I'm gonna put some tape across those holes so nothing falls in there. So we're gonna do that and I'll be right back. All right, guys. So we have this all covered up, so nothing gets in the engine. So the other thing we had to do is pull all the harnesses off this spool valve on this side. I believe there's 3 of them over here. Pop this out of here. Then we had to go down here and take these little clips out. Just got a little thing you push in there and just pull up for the injectors. So we take the injectors wires loose. We're gonna have to take this hose here off. So we got the little play in this, but we need to get a few other things off. Then we have over here, we have a 10mm bolt underneath this hose. And then we have one right back here, right back there, that holds the power steering line on. We gotta get it off. And then we gotta take all the coil packs out, all 3 out of the back of here. So I'm gonna get this hose, see if I can get this hose off. This one might be a little bit of a challenge because it's been on there a while. Just like the other one, we'll give it a little twist. There we go, got a little loose. I'll see if I still need a little bit more of a twist on the bulge here. There we go. All right, got that off. Help us a little bit there. Now we're gonna come over here to this 10mm here. I'll grab a shorter extension here. And, all right. I don't know, maybe I might need to get a longer one. Yep, I think I might need to get a longer one. Dude, maybe that one was, let's try this one. Probably gonna be too short. Maybe. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this bolt right back where it came from. That way I know where it goes, and I don't, one less bolt I have to worry about losing. But these are the ground connections for this wiring harness. So that's gonna free us up a little bit of room to get this valve cover off when we get ready at that point. And then there's also another 10mm in the back that we're gonna have to got that one out. So the next thing we're going to have to do is get the coil packs out, and those are also a 10mm. I'm gonna get those out, and then I'll be right back. So all right, so got the coil packs out. There's 3 little bolts like this, you know, 1 on each coil pack, and then there's 2 bolts in the back for the valve cover, which I already got loose. And then we have these 3 here on the front. And these are 10mm. All right. Put these up here out of the way. All right. And this might be on here a little tight. I have to be gentle here. Prime here and there. All right, got a little loose on that end. So we rock it back and forth here to get it completely loose. All right, I'm gonna grab a different tool here and be right back with you. All right, guys, I got this valve cover back on, got it out, got everything cleaned up. Well, the first thing I want to talk about here, because this wiring harness is a real pain, which if you're doing this job or none of you know. So there's two harnesses, wire harnesses that are back here that you can disconnect. Then there's this part with the brown connector that just hooks onto the metal bracket that's right here. And you just push up a little tab right here and then pull it off. And that will let you move this harness, because it goes down to on the transmission. It'll let you move this harness further to the driver's side. And that will allow you a lot more room to slide that valve cover. It's still not easy, but it'll be a lot easier by taking it off, because it gives you so much room, as you can see. And that's with my hand in the way. How much room to move it. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is you want to make sure you clean all the sealer out of the corners, and then make sure your surface obviously on the head's clean all the way around, and then put you some sealer, some Honda Bond, some right stuff. That's what I used on both sides of this, where the VV2 solenoid is, or spool valve, on each side. And then it'll be opposite side when you get to the front one, when we'll get to that point. So basically at this point is just reassembly on this back of disassembly. So I'm going to go ahead and get this reassembled, and then we'll see you back here for the front valve cover and the spool valve. All right, so now we're here on this other side. So what you're going to do, I got some that's disconnected already, but I kind of wanted to go over this real quick. So you're going to disconnect these two plugs off the spool valve. Then down in here, there's a 10 millimeter that will take this part of the harness loose. Then you have to pull this out, and then it'll pop it up off of here. And then there is another one right here, the same way. Okay. Then, as you can see, there's two harnesses down here, right down there, that you got to disconnect just like the back. Pop this little plastic thing here off. And then come up here, take this off of this sensor, and then you push down right here. It says push right here, and take it off here. And then that'll release this whole thing right here. That way you can get to everything. And then you take your nut off each one of your coil packs, and then remove those. Then we have 1, 2, 3 bolts on here, and we have 1, 2 bolts on the bottom that hold that in. So once we get this valve cover off, we're going to replace the gaskets on this spool valve, and then we'll put that back together, and then we're going to and then we'll clean everything up, put this valve cover here back on, and then reassemble everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get these bolts out of here, get this valve cover off, and then we'll be back with you when we do this spool valve. So we'll be right back with you. All right, we're back. We got the front valve cover off. Now we're working on the spool valve. So I started taking this apart, but you would already have these two connectors off anyway to get this harness off. So there's 1 bolt here, and then there's 2 bolts down here. These two are the same size. This one up here is gonna be longer, so you can't really get them mixed up. So once you do that, this will come off like this. Yeah. Then you, the plate there I dropped. So you have one gasket here, and then you're going to have one down here on the head. And this one has a screen in it, so you'll know which one. This one's more square, and then the one that goes in here is more round. This one's flat because it's just old and brittle, shrunk up. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get this all cleaned up, new gaskets in it, and we'll be right back with you. All right, we're back. We got the spool valve off. I got it cleaned up right here. So we have, I wanted to show you here, that the one right here, this is the one that came out of the one off the actual valve. And these are exact same gaskets. These have flattened out, it's hard, it's brittle, it, you know, don't flex like this one. And that's why they started leaking. And then we have this one is the one that goes in onto the head. It has the screen in it. That's how you always tell. That one goes down onto the head first. And this one's already flat, you know, from new, but as you can tell, it's pliable. This isn't very pliable. So we're gonna get ready to reassemble this, but just wanted to kind of show you guys the difference and why we need to change these and why they leak so often. So we'll get this put back together. Oh, so what I wanted to tell you was, so you have this part goes into the head, then you have this plate, and then you have this gasket, which actually I got it the wrong way. Then you have this gasket, which I believe went that way, like that. So that goes between the actual valve and this plate. So this plate goes between the gaskets. Alrighty, we're gonna get it put together and we'll be back. All right, we're back, got everything cleaned up. Got the new gasket in the spool valve itself. We have the new gasket with the screen inserted into the head. And then we're gonna put this steel plate right there. So that goes on top of there. All right. Then we're going to take the spool valve. It's got like it's got dials on it. So, and then it'll go in like that. And then we'll bolt it together. So here, I'm going to give you the part number. This is for the J series, the V6. These are the two part numbers for both those gaskets. If you can't find them at Honda, you can get on eBay, Amazon. It just takes a little while to get them. So plan ahead when you are going to do this job. I highly recommend using all Honda parts when you do this job. So I'm going to get this bolted up and then start reassembling the valve cover. And I might show you how to put in the valve cover gasket. So we'll be right back with you. Welcome back. We got the front valve cover, everything reassembled, everything's ready to go. Cleaned up the intake there. You're going to want to replace the gasket. This is a new one here. I'm going to just sit this on here like that. And here's the part number for that lower plenum gasket. And like I said, you're going to need it. So what we're going to do next is we've already cleaned up the bottom of this plenum. So we're going to go ahead and try to install this back on here. All right, now just move some things over here. Okay, so we got that sitting down there on that, like that, and then do a few little things here, get everything bolted down. I'm gonna get this throttle body up on there, and then we'll get this all tightened down and everything else put on here. So we'll be right back with you. All right, we're back. So we now have the plenum installed, the air box. We have everything hooked up here. Throttle body's bolted back down. Everything's good to go. The only thing we got left is this top plenum plate here. We installed a new gasket in it. And now we're gonna go ahead and put this on. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on. Like that. And then the fun part begins, putting all these million bolts in. All right, we'll be right back once we get this thing all bolted down. All right, we got the top plate put back here on the plenum. We got everything completed, put back together, double check, triple check. So the next thing we have to do is start up and see what happens. All right, so now since we got it running, we're gonna let it warm up here, and we're just gonna make sure that we don't have any leaks, any vacuum leaks. You know, just kind of double check everything that we did, and just kind of look for anything. You know, like we already have some oil and stuff, old oil burning off the manifold because the valve cover was leaking there in the front, running down onto the manifold, so it's still burning it off. That and the brake clean that I put on there. Alrighty, well, I think that pretty much concludes this video. I hope everything that I put on here was helpful somehow to somebody. Yeah, please like, share, comment. Even subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Hit the little bell notification button. That'll let you know when we upload a new video. There'll be a lot more of these style videos coming soon. So till next time, we'll see you later.